Formula One of today benefits from the latest aeronautical devices as well. A case in point is the Brabham Alfa Romeo, which uses the same braking system found on the Concorde.
Why did you move to Brabham?
Because I want to change, and I believe that the Brabham Alpha team is the best I can go to.
Are you excited about racing in a revolutionary car?
Yes.
Challenging Ferrari?
Yes, very much, because I believe that the new Brabham is going to be a very good car. The team had some difficulties in the past winning races, and I'd like to work together with them and try to see what result we can achieve.
But are you interested in racing against Ferrari?
Yeah, I'm interested in racing against everybody, but the people always say they don't know how much part of the success in Ferrari is Ferrari or how much part is Lauda. So in the future we will see. If Ferrari is more successful than I am, you know that Ferrari was better than Lauda. If I'm more successful in Brabham, you know that I did a good part in it.
Formula One, a world that burns up more than the fuel it thrives on. The cars age quickly, as do the drivers. Gilles Villeneuve, a French-Canadian, is one of the new names in racing, and he's had the luck to be hired by Ferrari. Carlos Reutemann, the current #1 at Ferrari, is an excellent test driver.
Just as the cars are constantly brought up to date, so the modern driver is careful to remain in top physical shape. He's got to be a more or less all-around athlete. His training is simple enough, plenty of swimming, skiing, weightlifting, but above all jogging, which is essential to optimum physical performance. Running can be fun too, as evidenced by the frequent foot races among drivers held on various Formula One tracks.
They say you don't know what friendship and gratitude are.
When you win, you have 1,000 friends. When you're second, you have 500. And when you're third, you have 100. But they're only with you because they think maybe he wins again, and then I'm still there. But when you're fourth, nobody thinks about you anymore.
In order to be victorious, a Formula One team must be led by that special breed of men who create a certain type of atmosphere and galvanize their drivers. Luca Montezemolo belongs to that breed. After 11 frustrating years, Ferrari is back at the top thanks to his inspired guidance. His genuine enthusiasm is also responsible for his improvised boxing match with Monte Carlo's fearless gendarmes and his fracturing a leg once in the pits.
It's stupid this one, eh? Non la fa finire così. Va bene. Ok? Ok. Pochi. Luca, especially in 74 and 75, got a lot of things in perfect shape. You know, everything was, the organization was very bad, and he just got everything absolutely right. So from this, we made a very good base for us to start off working. And therefore, it did a lot for me and for Ferrari. And Luca was the guy who realized that the drivers are human beings which need some treatment sometimes. You know, even if he says, you're a nice boy, go and drive. No, you know, you feel happier. And he was the guy who realized and did it.
Is he a friend?
He's a friend of mine, yes.
Friendship and close collaboration also play a fundamental role in rallies, where the dangers are different than those in Formula One. Here to talk about them is a Formula One champion who's also taken part in more than one rally, Ronnie Peterson.
Well, to me, rally seems just about as dangerous as the thing I'm doing, because they're doing very high top speed now as well, and they're racing on roads which they on some places don't know at all. And when they go off the road nowadays, they have fairly big accident.
Rally is no ordinary joyride, but a type of race requiring special skills in the judgment of speed versus terrain. The greatest rally champion today is considered to be Sandro Munari. Day and night, thousands of fans gather at the most inaccessible spots along the course for a glimpse of their idols. They will cluster at the edge of a road, forming a human guardrail for the cars that streak past.
But rallies are only one test of the technical research carried out by the big-name companies. The automobile industry is interested in safety as well and follows scientific methods in testing the resistance of its products. The goal is a future free of casualties. problem of safety concerns the drivers more than anyone else. Much work is done on the cars and the tracks in order to avoid further tragedies. Since 1974, only 2 drivers have lost their lives in Grand Prix competition. And in a total of 289 Formula One races, only 17 drivers have died. Fire is still the major risk. The special suit worn nowadays allows for a margin of 180 seconds before the flames will burn through to a man's skin. Unfortunately, there is always the danger of asphyxiation.
The track at Indianapolis, where the famous 500 is held for a total purse of well over $1 million, has often been the scene of spectacular accidents, especially at the starting line. This is due to the fact that 33 cars take part in the race, and the drivers who find themselves at the rear of the pack will do anything they can to squeeze their way up to a front position. Watch this starting formation very carefully.
From the legendary Indianapolis to another track equally as famous, Le Mans. Jackie Ickx, the king of Le Mans. He's won this race no less than 4 times and is considered a specialist in a race that has become one of a kind. It lasts 24 hours, from 4 p.m. Saturday to 4 p.m. Sunday. A marathon like no other that always attracts an enormous crowd. 200,000 spectators thrill to the 350 kilometers per hour that are reached on the straight stretch known as the Unadier. The 24 hours of Le Mans used to be an extremely important technological proving ground and carried great prestige. But today, with the decline of the sports car, it's more of a unique, colorful attraction than anything else. Despite the inordinate length of the race, every minute counts. And the changing of drivers, 2 or 3 per car, is executed with split-second precision.
Is always decisive at Le Mans. This is when the crucial maneuvers are made that will lead to ultimate victory or bitter defeat. Dawn for the drivers is the most difficult moment of all. Fatigue begins to slow their reflexes. Le Mans has known epic days. Duels that are still talked about, like medieval legends of chivalry. Ferrari versus Jaguar, Ford versus Ferrari. Today, the major contestants are Renault and Porsche.
From a French tradition to an English one, the typical British love of anything covered by the dust of time. On display at Silverstone are vintage models driven by collectors or former champions like Stirling Moss. You recognize him? That's Stirling Moss almost 30 years ago. The Italian public learned to appreciate him at Caracalla, which was then on the outskirts of Rome, where veritable automotive bullfights were held. Moss made history precisely because he never did succeed in winning the world title. He wasn't very lucky that day at Caracalla either, and was forced to drop out because of a broken wheel. His career ended rather early, when he was only 33, because of a serious accident at Goodwood on April 23rd, 1962.
Would you like to be one of the drivers today in Formula One? Do you feel sorry that perhaps you drove when the cars you drove were racing and not in this time?
No, that I don't feel sorry. I feel sorry that I had to give up because I had a bad accident a long time ago. I would not change my period of racing for today because I think that although it's enjoyable today, they don't have the same humor, the same fun, the same... I mean, you know, our cars were cut away, you could see more, and if we saw a pretty girl, we're going slow enough to see, you could blow a kiss and you could wave at her.
During the race?
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's easy playing with the double. Sure. Because things like that.
But before, you know, like in 1940, in order to get a license,
Oh, but you
they had to take it over like this and get it out.
Just planes like this.
Yeah.
Not
What do you have a Cessna? It's easy.
looks easy. Very easy with this thing. But now the red arrows are coming. Yeah, they're fantastic. Why don't they like this?
If he were competing today, Moss would most likely be driving one of the highly respected British-made racing cars. As a matter of fact, England is the current home of modern-day Formula One. Of all the factories, Lotus is the most prestigious. Colin Chapman, ingenious inventor of the monocoque or unified body chassis construction, has set up his racing division in an 18th century deconsecrated church, where some of the fastest cars in the world are built.
Last year, did you imagine that you'd lead the driver's standings the first season in a car like the Wolf? Did you think you'd be so successful?
No, not at all. We went out with, I think, the right people, and we had enough money to make it successful, but we couldn't expect to be as successful as it's been.
The road to success is difficult and dangerous. as Jody Scheckter found out back in 1973 at Silverstone, where he was the principal figure in a dramatic accident. Despite the fact that a total of 15 cars were involved in the smash-up, the South African driver managed to come out of it with nothing worse than a bad scare.
Silverstone, together with Monza, is one of the few fast tracks where Formula One Grand Prix are still run. For reasons of safety, the English manufacturers, who use 8-cylinder engines, prefer circuits with more curves, where the ultra-powerful 12-cylinder engines can't be opened up to their maximum. Reutemann in a hair-raising spin. He loses 15 seconds. A mistake that can cost a driver the race. Formula One also means a constant search for new weapons in the battle against time, such as the six-wheeler, which Tyrrell raced for 2 seasons. After a promising debut, this futuristic model ran into a series of technical problems that led to its subsequent withdrawal from competition. Teddy Mayer, the former lawyer who now owns McLaren, runs over to congratulate his driver, who has just won the race. James Hunt.
Modern-day racing, human courage is outweighed by sophisticated technology. The outcome of a Formula One race depends more than anything else on the tires. Chemical blends identified by mysterious initials can allow even mediocre drivers to turn in miraculous results. If a car is technically inferior, even the best of drivers doesn't stand a chance.
This year's Grand Prix have been rendered even more exciting by an important technological duel between Goodyear, which has held a monopoly on Formula One tires since 1974, and Michelin, which furnishes Ferrari and Renault.
It's being called the Great Tire War. Goodyear still manufactures a traditional tire with crisscross grooves, whereas Michelin uses the radial system, which on paper at least allows for greater traction. It's a battle between the U.S. and Europe in which no holds are barred, and it's having vast repercussions on the international market.
Tires have often played a decisive role in and been the cause of serious accidents. especially at Indianapolis, where speeds average 160 miles per hour.
At Indy, Clay Regazzoni was one of the few European drivers who tried to surpass the achievements of Jim Clark. During the trials, however, he was the protagonist of an uncanny accident.
Now, tell me about Indianapolis.
It was a very interesting experience, mainly because I had always wanted to drive those famous 500 miles. And I was happy to be in the race because even though I had a pretty bad starting position, in fact I was number 30, I still had a chance to win. This never happens here in the Grand Prix. If you are in the back, you are out of the race. At Indy, after 20 minutes, I was already in the 12th position, mainly because it is a long race with many pit stops. You know, one can struggle to get a better position.